Thank you, Ursula's mom. How beautiful. Look at those flowers. First of all, I'd like to say my name is Damian Rico, and I'm the marketing director at Hospice of the Calumet area. And I really thank Ursula for putting this on because this is a very, very important topic and a very, very important occasion. It's not something that's very easy to talk about, but I can really appreciate Ursula's love of her mother because my mother was my hero. Before I started working here at Hospice 3 years ago, we got the shocking news that my mom needed hospice care. And at that time, I really didn't know too much about Hospice of the Calumet area other than they were a great organization that did a lot of good things for good people. But it wasn't until we called them and we really embraced the journey. I'm not going to say they were the 3 best days of my life, but they were probably the 3 most memorable days because nothing else mattered. It was just mom, my father, and my sister. And we were a very close family. She was only 69 years old, and we were devastated. But that's the reason why I'm here today, because I feel like I listen to God's plan, and I feel like He put me here to do this, to talk to people, to educate folks about Hospice of the Calumet area, some of the services that we do, some of the resources that we have. Because there's a lot of stereotypes and a lot of myths about hospice. And I couldn't help but driving in today to think of my mom because I went to school 1 mile down the road here, and I played baseball just 2 blocks away from here. And as I was driving through these neighborhoods, I had tears in my eyes because all I could think of these great memories of my mom. I really feel like her legacy is still alive and going because she's very here close to my heart. And we tell my son and my daughter stories about Mama, and the more we talk about her, the more we feel that she's still here. So even though it's been 3 years, it just seems like it's a dream because I feel like she's here with us as well. I spoke up to our board recently, about 2 weeks ago, and I was telling them a story about, they asked me what I thought about hospice and how I enjoyed my time here. And I tell them it's not my time, it's God's time. I really feel like it's a plan that I couldn't even think of myself. And I told them about a story about a man that walked on the top of the hill to talk to God. And the man asked, he said, God, what's 1,000,000 years like to you? And God said, a minute. Then the man asked, well, what's $1,000,000 to you? And God said, a penny. And so then the man asked, God, can I have a penny? And God said, sure, I'll give it to you in a minute. You know, we think we know what we want, but we get what we need, right? And that always comes, and you know, there's blessings that come all over the place. And sometimes at uncertain times, I don't know how many times I go out on a family visit to talk to families, and I look down and I know the family. And when I see it, and I confront that family, when I see them eye to eye, all their fears and their worries, they go away. And it's just me and them. And it's all about connection. And when I tell them my story and how I was in their shoes before, and I understand what they're feeling, I understand that sucker punch, and I understand what it's like to feel like you're drowning and suffocating because you're losing your loved one, I can't help to remember what my mom taught us and how she helped me to put things in perspective at all times. And as I see families here and these legacies that are growing here, I'm just reminded of how important these conversations are to have. Because when I first started here at Hospice of the Calumet area, I talked to our CEO, Adrienne May, and I had asked her about her dreams and what she would like me to do. And she said, you know, Damien, I'd like you to reach the minority communities. She's like, I know you come from East Chicago and you grew up in Hammond. She's like, those are some of the communities that we really need to tap into and help educate folks because they don't use our services as much as some of the other communities. And I told her, well, you know, Adrienne, I think part of it is a cultural thing. I says, you know, African-American families and Hispanic families, we're really close to our loved ones. And we promise them we are never going to let anything happen to them, and we take care of them ourselves. We don't put them anywhere. And she says, well, hospice is not a place, it's a philosophy. And I said, I understand that. But that's what we need to get to the people. We need to educate folks. And you know, 95% of our patients are cared for at their own home. A lot of people don't realize that. That's where we want to be. That's where my mom wanted to be. She wanted to go home. And that's probably the greatest gift that I can ever given her, is to take her home and to be surrounded by her loved ones, my cousins and her uncles and her aunts. It was just a beautiful thing. And just seeing her smile and look up and know that she was home, doing her rosary on her phone, watching her Rocky movies, listening to Smokey Robinson, that's what she wanted to do. And I'm so grateful for that, because we talk about that all the time. And my son remembers that, and my daughters remember that, and it's just, it's a pretty amazing thing. And I'm telling you that that's part of the reason why I do what I do, is because I love these communities. This is my community. And I want to go out and I want to reach and try to educate as many folks as I can. Another one of those stereotypes that Adrienne, my CEO, was talking about was the financial part. We're always worried about the financial part, right? That's one of the things that we are always concerned of. This beautiful service is how much is it going to cost us? Can we afford it? And Medicare, Medicaid, and most private insurances cover all of hospice services. So that's something that we're trying to get the message out to, because it's very, very important. Because naturally we're gonna worry about finances. So the thing is, I want to try to help educate folks as much as I can and answer as many questions as I can. I've been working with a lot of the churches, a lot of the schools. I know a lot of resources in these communities, and I just love them. And when I come home, it's such a refreshing thing to see people embrace the philosophy and understand. Because I spent a lot of time in my days having people trust me and being trustworthy, because that's something my mom taught me. If you have somebody's trust and if you can connect with them, there's nothing better to do. And she said, and one thing that she always taught me is meet people where they're at. We're all responsible, and we're all capable of judging others. It's just human nature. But try to do it less, she told us, and just be a good person. And I'm reminded of a story that she told me about a guy that was on a train, and his kids were 6 and 7 years old, and they were running around unruly, and the people next to him, they were complaining about him and kind of bad-mouthing the dad for not paying attention. And finally, the wife says, "I have to say something. This is obnoxious, and these kids are obnoxious, and I can't take it anymore. I'm on vacation. I'm trying to relax." So she said, "Excuse me, sir." He said, "Yes." And she goes, "Your kids are horrible. They're acting crazy. You need to settle them down." And he said, "I'm sorry." He said, we were on vacation, and my wife's son is on vacation, and they just called us back, and she's in the hospital, and she has only a couple hours to live. And I'm trying to figure out how to tell these kids. And she goes, "I'm sorry if I'm not in my right state of mind." And I thought to myself, like, wow, we never know what's going on in somebody's head, right? I mean, we're driving around, and somebody cuts us off, and we're the first thing to roll our windows down and say, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And who knows what that person's going through? Who knows if that person even saw us? So if we could just be a little bit more kinder and a little bit more gentler with our approach to things, I think sometimes we go through life so quickly that we don't even see ourselves this way. And my son, he's 8 years old, and he has taught me so much about life. Here I am thinking I'm teaching him about life. No, he's teaching me about life. And when he was 4 years old, and we were at my mom's bedside, and I am a pretty good communicator, and I take a pretty good pride in helping them along in these situations. And he couldn't help but just to sit by my mom's bedside. And I will never forget this CNA. She says, "You're pretty close to your grandma, huh?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's my mama. She was my first teacher, and he's my best friend, and I'm gonna miss her so much." And his eyes just welted up. And of course, I couldn't even look at him. And she says, "Well, you've been sitting here for hours." He goes, "Yeah, I'm not gonna leave her side." And he was only 4 at the time. And she says, "Well, how about you helping me lotion her legs after I take her a bath?" She goes, "Do you think you can get all your family upstairs if I take her a bath in private?" And then you come down, and he goes, "Yeah." His smile on his face, I'll never forget that. The day before she passed, he had some purpose and he had some value. And here was a perfect stranger that I had just met that day that took the time to notice her surroundings and speak to my son and say, somebody's hurting, how can I help? And that's what hospice is. We have a brand we call Cherishing Life. We help families and we help patients cherish life. We're not just for the patient. We're not just there for the patient. We're there for everybody. We have a whole interdisciplinary team that is there prepared to help. And you're going to meet some of those fascinating people in a minute. Christy, one of the greatest social workers that I know. Also Sarah, who's involved with our transitions program and is going to be a social worker for us as well. Ursula, who's come in as an intern and touched so many lives in such a short period of time and brought so many different perspectives to us. You know, she's sat in my office, talked to me about things that I didn't even understand were going on. And sometimes you just need to take a step back, not be defensive, and understand somebody else's perspective. Because it all takes a village to make an impact on people. And I love hearing what she has to say about how we can better serve others. And she wants to be part of that group. And that's what we're all here for. We all need to work together. You know, when somebody else is doing something that we don't agree with or don't understand, you know, like Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high. And the only way we can go high and do those kind of things is by connecting with one another, helping each other out, and helping to address those healings. And, you know, I can't tell you enough about this job. I really love it. I thought I had the best job before this. I worked at the Times. I covered so many great events. I went out to Philadelphia and covered the Pope. It was just a beautiful experience. But there was nothing as fulfilling as this job is today, every day. To meet families, to sit down with them, to hold their hand, to talk to them. Today I met a family, and they were from East Chicago, and they recognized me. And before we went there, I was kind of forewarned. This family, they're not really getting along. A lot of them have different views, and this might be a very adversarial meeting. But when I walked in, they recognized me right away, and we just started talking about East Chicago and home. And when I shared my story and how I got there, all of a sudden, all that little pettiness went away. And it was, what can we do to help you? And I really enjoy that part of it, because that's what really life's all about. The reason why we bicker, the reason why we argue is because we're afraid. Everybody has fear, and we do not like the unknown. Nobody does. So we really need each other, and we really value each other, and we have to do that. In order to do this job every day, to get up every day, you have to trust somebody other than yourself, because we're all human beings, and we all make mistakes, and we all say stupid things at the wrong time. But it really takes the intent of others to say, listen, I like the way you said that, or hey, maybe you should position this a different way, or look at this perspective. And that's the one thing that I can tell you is when I go to work every day, I know everybody has the same compassion and love in their heart and their soul as I do. People tell us all the time, I don't know how you can do that job. Isn't that depressing? No, it's not depressing. Because you know why? It's not about death. It's about life. It's about celebrating somebody's life. It's about cherishing their life and letting them understand that you're there for them. A lot of people don't understand. It's an honor to be old. There's so many kids out there that are getting killed and getting shot or getting in a car accident. There's no dignity in that death. When you're a senior and when you're old and you're at home, that's how I want to go. I want to look at my family and say, this is what I built. This is my legacy. My stories and all these things are going to keep going on because I raised these people here and people love me. We're very fortunate to be loved by others. And I can tell this group has a good family and a good niche for love and compassion. And we're very honored to have that. In our communities, it's second nature to us. We're very fortunate to have people that love us. We're very close to our families. Those cultural things are a great impact on us. So I want to commend you, and I want to commend Ursula for doing this, and for Mama for making all this great food here, and for helping out, because that's what families do, right? That's what families do. We're there for each other, and when we're afraid and we're scared, it doesn't matter how old you are, you're still a baby to your parent, right? You're still their daughter and their son. And let us take care of them now. And as we hear Christy talk about social work and some of the resources that we have, and as we hear Sarah talk about the transitions program, know that there's a lot of resources, and we're a phone call away. You don't have to be afraid. The more educated you are about some of these subjects, the better it's going to be. I know it's difficult. Nobody likes to talk about death. Nobody likes to think about the end. But I know one thing. My son is 8 years old, and if I were to pass away tomorrow, he knows exactly what I want. And I tell him, I said, and he says, Dad, don't talk about death. Initially, he used to tell me that. I say, Anthony, it's going to happen to all of us. I said, it's good that you know, because this is what I expect of you. Your job is just going to be beginning when that time happens. And I'm not afraid of it. I live every day following one boss, and that's the guy upstairs. I shouldn't even say guy. I don't even know if he's a guy. Maybe he's going to be a woman up there. But I just follow my heart, and I think to myself, like, how can I do God's will? And that keeps me going, and that's what really this is all about. It's about cherishing life and being there for one another. So I just want to thank you for your time, because this is a beautiful experience to come back home and bring these beautiful memories back. And sometimes there's God's ways way better than ours. I never thought I would be this choked up just coming to Hammond, because I come this way all the time. But just driving through these neighborhoods, so many memories and so many beautiful things are popping in my head. And I want to thank Ursula for bringing me here and to allowing me to have that time with my mom today. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer it. Other than that, we're going to be hanging around for a little bit. So if you guys want to talk to me afterwards, that's fine as well. But thank you for listening, and I appreciate Ursula and everybody who had anything to do with this event. Thank you for coming out and supporting Hospice of the Calumet area. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Damien. I really appreciate that information you sharing with my kids and my family. I also met another gentleman through networking with this event. His name is Martin, and he's from North Shore Health Care Centers. And would you come up, Martin, and maybe just introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about you, please? My field instructor, she's here as well, and she's going to be speaking, but her information is, I'm saving it for last, so maybe you know how they said the last should be first. So I'm saving that good info at the end. Come on, Michael.
Hello.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ursula, for having North Shore here. I'm Martin Zuniga from North Shore Health Centers. We are a medical facility. We provide medical services such as OBGYN, pediatrics, family practice, urgent care, dental, vision. We do have some pharmacies within our locations. We have different locations in Lake and Porter of Indiana. The closest one here is down the street on Indianapolis Boulevard, right by House of Pizza. We accept Medicaid, Medicare, private insurance plans, and we also work on a science scale based on your income. So if you have any questions about insurance, or if you're looking for a doctor, dental, or vision, or any of the health services that I mentioned today, please come visit me. I think some of you have visited me already, but please come and join me. And then if you want me to answer your questions more thoroughly, I'm there providing services. Thank you so much for having us here. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Martin. I'm going to share another part of my vision for this workshop. Like Damien said earlier, so many young lives are leaving here tragically, and it disturbs me that to log on to social network and you have a GoFundMe account to bury someone's child or their father or their mother. We all have bad habits when we spend money on things that we really don't need. But if we would take $3 and put it away a week. You can pay for a premium. It's okay to help, you know, when it's needed, but that's just a part of life. We know that we're gonna die. Why not prepare for it? So, with that being said, I would like Heather Hayes from TransUnion America to come up and share a little bit about insurance. We all know Pam. Stand up, Pam. You won't speak, but stand up. Everybody knows Pam from our community.
Thank you guys, and I appreciate being here, and thanks Pam and Ursula for the invite. And again, we're here representing Transamerica, and we kind of, like she said, tie into the purpose of the workshop today. Again, we all know death is going to happen, and what we do is to make sure that we're prepared for it when it does. And going back to this gentleman's story about his mom, I lost my mom last year also. And it was hurtful, but I was able, I was able to go through her death with ease because she was prepared and left us without the headache of having to go fund me or ask the church for money or whatnot. So what we do is do financial planning for people who, like we almost visited with almost everybody in here. But what we do is review people's situations of what they currently have, if it's working for them, if it will work for them, or supplement what you do have with what we can offer. No one is obligated to purchase or do anything. Again, we did, like she just mentioned, the importance is knowing the need for life insurance. It's we have products that don't work only when you die, they work while you're alive as well. Whether it be our living benefits, long-term care products, things of the sort. But our main goal is just to educate people of what each of these products can do for each person. So again, like I said, a lot of you all have already come to our booth or whatnot. And if you have not, we would advise you to please come and get some information, at least our business cards. We'll come to you, or if you want us to present in front of a group of people, family members or whatnot, if they're unsure or don't understand the need for life insurance or the attachments that go with it, we'll be more than welcome to help you all. And I appreciate you guys for taking the time to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And Pam. Well, I would like to introduce, she doesn't want to speak, but if Jaleesa, she's from Companion Academy, if you would please stand, please. She's representing the foster care program from Companion Academy. And I thought it was a good idea to have them as well. I know it seems like, well, what does foster care have to do with it? Damien has already shared a story where his son was in the household as his mama was passing. Kids bring so much joy to life. When you're parenting, you think, ooh, I'd be glad when they get grown. But in reality, cherish those moments. And if you cannot actually adopt a child or something, maybe you consider reaching out to Companion Academy and seeing about getting maybe an after-school program going in your community or maybe in your building or something to help out with these children or something like that. It's just an idea. Children are very important and we don't want to leave them behind either. Before we get to the final presentation, I would like to introduce Sarah. I met Sarah. She's with Hospice of the Calumet area as well. And she just did a little promotion there. So she's not in transitions at the moment, but I would like for her to explain the transitions program in hospice. She probably could do it a lot better than I can. but it is a program that is not actually yeah, in the hospice services, but it is umbrella under the hospice services. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Sarah, and I am one of the social workers with Hospice of the Calumet area. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Hospice of the Calumet area's program called Transitions. The Transitions program serves individuals with life-limiting illnesses that are likely not going to go away. Some of these illnesses include congestive heart failure, COPD, dementia, all the different types of cancers. The nature of these illnesses, they sort of plateau, decline, decline. People generally don't get back to their baseline once they're diagnosed with these illnesses. The Transitions program understands that, and we work really hard to support people as they move through this journey, through these illnesses. Some of the things that the Transitions program does, we provide emotional support to people. We know that when people are diagnosed with these illnesses, they experience a lot of losses, a lot of changes, a lot of financial strain. There's a lot of things that are going on that feel very emotional, make people feel lost, kind of don't know what to do. We want to be there for people. We want to make sure you have what you need at home. For example, medical equipment. If you don't have a hospital bed, we will try to help figure out how you can get one. If you don't have the caregiver support at home, we want to make sure that you know where to go to get caregiver support. And if people don't have the support in going to meetings or talking to people that can help provide extra support, we like to make sure that we're there supporting people, making sure that they have the support that they need and feel confident when they're trying to get these services. The other thing that we do is we help people navigate through the healthcare system. So we know that our healthcare system is really difficult to understand. Right? It's not very user-friendly when people are experiencing these life-limiting illnesses. It's very stressful. So we want to help explain to people what their Medicaid means or what their insurance means, what Medicare can and can't do for you, or advocate for people. Call their doctors for them, call their home health nurses, let them know what's going on. Just want to make sure that you have the support, and that might be one less thing that you have on your list to do. One of the really important things that we do is we have plan of care conversations with people when they're ready. We want to know what your good day looks like. We want to know what you can do or what you would like to do even though you can't do the things that you want to do. What are your goals? What does quality of life mean to you? How can we make that happen for you? Or if we can't make that happen, what can we do for you to make your life feel purposeful? Let's see, what else? Then also advanced directives. We can help you create an advanced directive. Who would you like to be your healthcare representative? Who would you like to speak for you in the event you're not able to speak for yourself? We can do all of that. The social workers in the Transitions program are notaries, so we can help set that up, make sure you have that in place, and make sure we take the time for you to understand what that means. How do you become a Transitions client? We really are just a phone call away. You can call the Hospice of the Calumet area's direct line. Phone number is 922-2732. Ask to talk to somebody from Transitions. We want to hear your story. We want to know what's going on. We'll set up an initial visit, come and talk to you and see if we could be of help. One of the big questions people want to ask or do ask us is, how much is this going to cost me? The nice thing about Transitions is it's completely free of charge. It is funded by grants and charitable donations. There's no cost to Transitions. transitions. We don't bill insurances. We don't interfere with any other healthcare things that you have going on. We sincerely are just an extra layer of support, extra eyes and ears. We want to be there for you. We want to be the people that you can call, if you need someone you don't know where else to turn. If you have any questions about transitions, I'll be over there at the table. Feel free, or just give us a call. Take care.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. And congratulations again on your new position. Christy, I don't know how to describe her. She's a beautiful person. When I went to interview for the position, we just kind of spiritually connected. And I just want to say on tonight that whoever it is and wherever the Lord leads me to service others, just know that you will be a part of that as well. Christy, come on. She's going to talk to you about healthcare directives.
Thank you, Ursula. Tonight I've been challenged with a very difficult topic, and that is to talk about something that's very hard to talk about. I'm going to ask you all the first question. How many of you in this room, including our vendors back there, you're included in this conversation tonight, how many of you, outside of myself, have a healthcare power of attorney? Okay, Damien, what's your excuse?
I wanted to do it today.
That's a good one, David.
All right, so we have a lot of work to do in the next 20 minutes. So, the purpose of my talk tonight is to let you know the value of doing a healthcare power of attorney, the importance of doing a healthcare power of attorney, and how and why to do that. And we call this the hardest conversation. I gave you a packet, but I'd rather just talk to you and let you look at that packet and take it home tonight. But in the packet that you have are all the documents that you will ever need. We are also going to, Sarah and I are notaries, and we will also complete those documents for you at the end of the evening if you want to do that free of charge. So keep that in mind as we're talking this evening. The hardest conversation you will ever have are often the most important conversations that you will ever have. The important thing is to start the conversation. When we all know, as we've heard tonight from the insurance industry, we've talked to Damien, we've talked to Sarah, we've talked to others in the healthcare industry here this evening, that dying is a natural part of life. Helping us will help recognize that is going to help us all to cherish our life and to live our life to the fullest. Tuesdays with Maury, if any of you remember that movie long ago, he once said that everyone knows they're going to die, but nobody believes it. If we did, we would do things differently. To know you're going to die and to be prepared for it at any time, that's better. That way you can actually be more involved in your life while you're living. And saying that is what hospice is all about, as Damien said. We're all about cherishing life. When I joined hospice of the Calumet area 21 and a half years ago, I realized how important life truly is. When I faced death day in and day out as a hospice social worker. I grew up with a lot of healthcare problems of my own, which is why I became a healthcare social worker 29 years ago, because I grew up that way, facing death. But when I sat there and held the hand of a 35-year-old woman, of a 3-month-old baby, of a 102-year-old woman, you really realize how important it is to cherish each and every day. And how you must realize that we all must plan for the end of our life as well. Advanced care planning is my portion of tonight's conversation, of preparing for the end. It is a process of planning for the future in our medical care in the event that you are unable to make your own decisions. All of us in this room right now today can make our own medical decisions, but we don't know what's going to happen the minute we walk out this door. We could have a, it's in God's hands, I know that, but what could happen is a car accident. We could go home tonight and not wake up tomorrow, or we could have a stroke, we could fall, we could have a subdural hematoma, where you have a brain bleed. Anything could happen to any of us at any moment. I see that in the world of hospice care. People don't plan for things like that, but we can plan for that tonight. We can plan for that by starting to recognize who is going to make your medical decision for you if one of those events happens for you. Advanced care planning is also death on your own terms. It helps you to decide what you are going to do at the end of your life and putting your wishes in writing. You can choose who will speak for you when you can no longer speak for yourself. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you what the new state law is in Indiana and how that will impact you if you don't have a health care power of attorney. By speaking to your family about this now, you can also avoid a crisis. And I've been in, used to work at Michael Reese Hospital, downtown Chicago. I worked in the ER, I worked in the ICU, and I saw those crises happen. Families were distraught with making decisions. What do I do? What do I do? What would mom want? What would dad want? How do I know what the right decision is? When we sit down and we talk to our family, we don't have to guess. When I have hospice families, they tell me, Mom made the decision. She has a living will. I just have to carry out her wishes. That's the best gift you can give your loved one, is to tell them what you're going to want, because then they don't have the guilt. They don't have the second guess. They don't have to go through that second guessing of, am I doing what my loved one would want me to do? That is the best gift you can give your family for the future. An advanced care plan applies to everyone over the age of 18. And yes, I've had this conversation with my 20-year-old daughter. She has one too, because it applies to everybody. Now we say, what happens if I don't have one? Well, the state of Indiana, in July of 2018, enacted a new law. As part of the Health Care Consent Act, the state tells you who will be in charge of your health care. It has enacted what they call a hierarchy, and it has a protocol that will choose for you who will speak for you when you are no longer able to speak for yourself. There is a certain list, and you have this in your packet, so I don't expect you to memorize it, but they will tell you that in the absence of a healthcare power of attorney, the first person the state will turn to is a court-appointed guardian. In the absence of a court-appointed guardian, they will turn to your spouse. The only exception there is if you are legally separated but not yet divorced. If you are legally separated, your spouse has no say. Then they will turn to your adult children. Let's say you have 4 adult children and they're all in disagreement. The majority rules. There is no such thing about the oldest child winning. No, that's not the truth. It is a majority rules. So 3 out of 4, that's what's going to happen to you. Then your parent, and let's say you have 2 parents that are alive, and let's say they're divorced. They have to agree on what's going to happen to you because you don't have a health care power of attorney. Then, if you don't have any parents living, then they're going to turn to your adult siblings. And again, the majority rules. And if you don't have adult siblings, they're going to turn to your grandparents. And again, the majority rules. And if you don't have adult grandparents, they're going to turn to your adult grandchildren. And again, the majority rules. And then after that, they turn to the nearest adult relative, as they say, of the next degree of kinship, which means your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your nieces, nephews, relations such as that. And again, majority rules. And if you have no living family, then they're going to turn to an adult friend who might know you the best. So the state has a specific hierarchy in place that is going to tell the doctor what will happen to you in the event that you cannot speak for yourself. And I implore you to please make your own decision and don't let the state get involved. Okay? Make your voice heard. Make your voice matter. And choose your own spokesperson. And you're going to say, okay, well, now who do I choose? You're going to choose somebody who's at least 18 years of age. You're going to choose somebody who's willing to talk to you. Because if you have somebody who says, Mama, don't talk that way, I don't want to talk about that, that's not the right person to choose. Okay? Not the right person to choose. You want to choose somebody who's willing to sit down with you, willing to talk to you, willing to listen to what you want done. You want someone who is willing to act on your wishes, not on their wishes. And one thing that my mom and I had a conversation about is what is quality of life? And you want to have that conversation with your spokesperson. Because what's quality of life to you may not be quality of life to someone else. And they need to understand your definition of quality of life. Now, this person you choose can be family, it can be your best friend, it can be your pastor, it can be a neighbor, it can be a significant other. It does not have to be family. And I have gone to homes as a hospice social worker many a time, and the wife of the patient said, I'm not doing that because I don't agree with his decision. And I went, okay. So then the daughter stepped up and said, I'll do it. And the daughter took care of her father because the wife did not agree with the decision to go to hospice care. And the husband chose his daughter because she would be the one to honor his wishes. You have to choose somebody who's willing to stand up and honor your wishes. Does this person know you well enough? Does this person trust you? Do you trust this person? Could this person handle that responsibility and possible conflict in the family? Will this person talk to you about the sensitive issues that are going on in the community and going on in the healthcare industry? And will this person be a strong advocate for you with the doctor? Will this person say to the doctor, my mom said she didn't want that, don't do it? Will this person stand up to that doctor? That's the person you need as your healthcare power of attorney. Okay, so now you have in your mind that I think I want person X to do that. How do I talk to them? How do I begin that conversation? What you want to do is you want to start before there's a crisis. We all may have some health problems in our life. We all may have, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, or maybe we even have some serious things like I do. But we want to start before there's a crisis. We want to start now. You want to schedule time to talk with your family. Maybe it's going to be over Sunday dinner. Maybe it's going to be over the holiday. Maybe it's just going to be, can we sit down and talk? Let them know that you are not afraid to talk about dying. You are not afraid to talk about your future. Sometimes letting people know that gets the elephant out of the room. Because there's a big elephant in that room. And we need to make that elephant go away. Share how you feel about past family members who may have had a good or a bad experience as they entered the end of life. because we all know people who've had, as we say in the hospice industry, a good death. And we've all heard people who say, I know someone who had a bad death. What was that like? And how did that go? Share those stories with your loved ones so they know what your ideas are. Acknowledge that this is a difficult topic. And acknowledging that is going to make it easier for everybody. There are two types of advance directives. One is a simple form, and it's in your packet. It's called a healthcare representative. This form gives the authority to make healthcare decisions for you on your behalf. It requires 2 people to witness it. It does not need to be notarized, but it also will not allow somebody to make funeral plans on your behalf. So that person would not be authorized to make funeral plans. There are some hospitals in our community that are starting to do a healthcare representative document for people. But I say, why wait till there's a crisis? Why wait till you're in the hospital? Do it tonight. It's free, and we're here. The second document is called a healthcare power of attorney. This is a longer document. It is a little bit more complicated, but it also allows you to personalize your wishes. It has a page where you can write down that I don't want to be on dialysis, I don't want to be on a ventilator, I don't want my legs amputated, or I do want to be on dialysis. I don't care if you amputate my leg. They give you the option of writing in things you want, or writing in things you don't want, or writing in what you feel about life, about what you feel about the end of life. It gives you a place to personalize your wishes. This document also needs to be notarized, and that's why Sarah and I are here tonight for you, to notarize this document. And that document will allow someone to make funeral plans on your behalf. It's right there in the language. It allows them to make funeral plans for you. And people say, well, can't my next of kin do that? There are some discrepancies with funeral directors, and some funeral directors are getting more and more hesitant on doing the cremation documents, and especially if you're a friend or a significant other or have a more distant relationship. They want to see the healthcare power of attorney. They don't want to see the healthcare representative. That's why I encourage the healthcare power of attorney document. In summary, living life while planning for death is powerful. It allows you to cherish life. It allows you to live life to the fullest. It allows you to make the best out of every day. Living with an illness, as Sarah talked about, can make your life very meaningful. It doesn't mean you have to give up. It means you can keep going forward, recognizing that sometimes we all have an end. We don't know when or where or how, but if we plan for that, we will be better prepared. We can sometimes choose the way we live our life, and now we're starting to be able to choose the way we end our life by planning for the future. What are the goals of your medical care? What are you trying to hope for with your medical care options? Some of the benefits of doing this advance directive is having peace of mind, is having control over your own health care. Nobody should control what happens to my body but me. That's my choice. Benefits of knowing that what you want done will be done for you, and knowing that you have chosen the person who's going to make your decisions and not the state of Indiana. The benefit for your family is they don't have to make the big decision. You have made the decision. They only have to carry out your wishes. They have peace of mind that they're doing what you wanted done. They will have no guilt, they will have no worries, and they will have no fears. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the important thing about doing an advance directive. Tonight, I encourage you to look at the packet that I gave you. If you want, Sarah and I will be here at the table over there. We brought our notary stamps. We will do that for you. If you want to go home and look at it, do so. Call me at the hospice office, make an appointment. Me, Sarah, Vicki, and we have another social worker, Sarah. We will all be happy to make an appointment with you if you don't want to do it tonight, because I know it's getting late. But don't hesitate to call us. When you call in, ask for me. I'm the counseling coordinator, and I will be happy to set that time up. And I'll be happy to go through it page by page, line by line, if you don't want to stay tonight. That's how important I feel this is. It is so important that everybody in this room have one by the end of 2019. Okay, any questions? All right, Miss Ursula, it's back to you, my dear.
Okay, I hope that you all will take advantage of that. When we were going through our crisis in our family, there was some sort of conflict, and I had those documents in order, and it put that fire out right away. So while they're here, I do encourage you to complete these forms. They're simple to fill out. They're willing to help you. And I just love you that much. I want you to take care of you. Before I miss this again, I was supposed to do this earlier. We have a couple of raffles. I hope everybody's name is in this basket. And I'm going to step over here and let my mom pick a name. This is not fair, and I'm going to put her name back in this thing. It's my daughter. Why did you put your name in there? Okay. Now, if we put my mama name out here, I know this is okay. And please, if you want to see Christy and Sarah and get those forms filled out, please do not hesitate to walk around. You know what? I ain't gonna put your name back, but I believe this was rigged. This is my godmother. She's bringing the basket too. It's for me, baby. Somebody take a picture of her of that.
Okay, thank you.
Stand up and let somebody get a picture of that. Come up here with me and take a picture of that. Okay, thank you. Come on up here again and see. I'm sorry, Lindsay, you should have been in this picture. You sure? Okay. She won't be in one. another relative, I'm just gonna quit. Well, Valerie Andrews, you can't get this thing. Cause I'm raffling a gift for them, so you disqualified. Let's try again, Ma, you gonna get it right.
I didn't get it wrong in the beginning.
Melindia Cooper. Now that's so sweet. Come on. The ladies over here with Paparazzi Jewelry is Fabulous Five is their name, and they're gonna let you select the item. Oh, okay. All right, you go. Damien, once she selects hers, can you take a picture of them for me, please? Chambliss. You can also select a piece of jewelry over here at the Okay, let's see who, do everybody have their tickets? These are the tickets. Everybody got their ticket? Okay. Let's see. I don't have my glasses, but I think this says 093012. The last three numbers is 012.
Oh, that's me.
Ah, sure.
I had 13. That's me.
Yeah, okay. So, you don't get any jewelry, but we got over here. This, you know what? I know this looks funny because this is my god sister too. And you know, these people just keep winning these things. I think my mama,
They didn't know it was me. Your mama ain't done nothing.
this is a gas car she's won. All right.
All right, thank you.
No, she pulled it in, but I wouldn't want to. Jamie, can we get a picture, please? Sure. Thank you. Okay, we have another gift card. It's the last one.
Yeah.
Last three numbers, 017. 017. Oh, no. That's not Larry. Is it really you, Larry? Oh, well, come on and get your prize. You rightfully.
He said you got to make sure. You got to make sure. Yeah, that's it.
This is secondary. We have a good gift card for Walmart, so I'm sure his wife will appreciate it. You're welcome, thank you. We're gonna do 2 more raffles, and I'll just tell you again, I appreciate that you all took the time to come and spend with me tonight. Thank you so much. Oh, you picked 2. That's all right. I just read 1 and 2. Oh, Miss Terry Armour, you get to go pick a single item for jury. Congratulations. You're welcome. Miss Armour is new to our she wouldn't want some more than what she figured. Okay, and the last drawing, oh no, she don't want it. Carolyn Ryan. She don't wear jewelry. That's why I know she don't wear it. You want me to put your name back? You did win it. Put your name back, okay. She don't wear it. Miss Yvonne Bryant. Do you want, you don't? Oh, you bought something, so you should have waited.
All right, now I'm gonna pull this other name and bet not nobody be there bought nothing. Okay?
Shanice Winston. Well, if I could, I would give each one of you one, but I would like to say thank you again. And Christy, Sarah, thank you. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you.